week's edition of Coyote Nation TV, hear about why our bathrooms keep getting closed down, what our orchestra has been up to lately, and all about a new teacher on our campus. Today is Friday, January 28th, 2022, and Coyote Nation TV Live starts now. Happy Friday, Coyotes! I'm Caitlin Mims, and welcome to this week's show. Even though we've only been in school for a couple weeks now, our bathrooms have already been having some struggles. CNTV's Chama Agbor gives us some insight into why this keeps happening and what our students have to say about it.
The past on and off closures of upstairs C and B hall bathrooms at Heritage have left many feeling confused and frustrated. However, their closures were not made at random, and assistant principals Mr. Smith and Ms. Hill were involved in making the decision due to the recent increase in destruction.
We really think that this all started with like this TikTok trend at the beginning of the year for the destruction of bathrooms, and ever since then it's just progressively, like, kids have just continued to do it, and it's really, we think it's like that cloud that they have, that Instagram or that Snapchat where, oh look, I did this, and they go share it around.
The bathrooms keep getting closed down at school because we're not taking care of our stuff.
The biggest and main one right now is the graffiti, destruction, the misuse of our bathrooms right now. So we go in and kids have written on the walls, on the stalls, they've overturned tables, they've ripped things off the wall. And it's just becoming harder and harder to replace those. So we decided that we needed to shut down the bathrooms that aren't as needed.
The defacing of bathrooms has taken a toll on some of the students and administration.
It's hard for me to get to class on time, usually because since there are so few bathrooms, there's a long line to use the restrooms.
It stinks, right? It stinks to not be able to just go to the bathroom that's closest to your classroom. We're taking steps to fix that problem so that we don't have to close the bathrooms down every time something like this happens. But a lot of that depends on you as the students. If you as the students would hold each other accountable and make sure that if you know something about what's going on in the bathrooms, that you're telling somebody, an adult in the building that's trusted.
You have cameras in every single one of our bathroom hallways. So in order for us to just find the culprits, find the people who are doing these things, we are having to spend our days not being able to make an impact on students and in the classrooms and teachers, but we're having to watch hours and hours of film to see who are the students in. We call them in, we figure out what's going on, and we have to go through the whole investigation process. So it's just starting to wear on quite a few people.
The resulting damages have also had an effect on the custodial staff.
I think this is the saddest part. We're already struggling to keep custodians here on this campus just because we don't have very many district-wide, and now we're asking custodians to clean up nasty messes in the bathroom, to repair things that they shouldn't have to repair, and to clean up walls because people have drawn all over it. It just doesn't seem like a fair way to treat them.
The damage leaves many students with just one question on their minds.
I just want to know, why? It's a repeated thing. They keep closing them. I don't know. What's their end goal?
The bathrooms are now open with the addition of new restroom passes, and it's left administration calling for the end in order for them to remain that way.
Don't damage my property anymore. Don't damage our property, your fellow students' property anymore. Make sure that you're being responsible and respectful, and coyotes just don't treat things like this.
I'm Chama Agbor for Coyote Nation TV.
As the second semester begins, it brings with it the competition season for many organizations around our school. CNTV's Valeria Perez-Guerra gives us an inside look on orchestra's solo and ensemble competition.
At this time, some organizations are in their competition season, including the Heritage Orchestra, who have been preparing for a UIL-sponsored event called solo and ensemble.
Basically, prepare a piece for about 3 months beforehand, and then you go and compete in front of a judge to be scored.
It's not exactly a contest, but it's a festival where you go and play for judges. You play a piece or that's solo, or you can do an ensemble with other people.
Basically, you play for judges and they score you based on how well you play, and you get a rating of either a 1+, a 1, a 2, or a 3. So you have a score sheet that the judges take points off or on. So they have different categories and they check you off whether you met all the expectations for each category, and that's how you get graded.
And their score sheet is heavily impacted by the amount of hours they put in.
Usually at night, it's usually after like 9 or 10 o'clock, and I practice. And then sometimes I might stay after school for a little bit, but that's usually it.
Try to practice every day. It doesn't really happen at least 3-4 times a week.
How they prepare for the competition can vary from student to student.
When I have difficult rhythms, I work with different metronome like speeds and stuff, and I isolate shifts and stuff like that.
And then I just kind of go through and hit spots on everything that I need to.
Using processes like these, they go forward with the hope that all their practice pays off as they compete tomorrow at Rock Hill High School.
It gave me something to work towards. I could prepare my pieces and like have a goal at the end that I could accomplish.
I'm Valeria Perez-Guerra with Coyote Nation TV.
With the increase in absences from both students and teachers, there's been a strain placed on the substitutes in our district. CNTV's Preston Raven lets us hear from some of the affected teachers.
Coming back from winter break, more people have been out with COVID, including some of our teachers. With the heightened absence of teachers comes a heavier reliance on substitutes. But in the midst of this, FISD had been facing a sub shortage. The office and other teachers have been working hard to make sure our school functions as normal.
Last Friday, we had 33 teachers out, but we only had 15 subs. So it varies from day to day. We're not any different than any other school in the district. It's this way across the district just because it's that time of year with illness and stuff. But we've been averaging about a 50% fill rate, which means only 50% of the absences are being filled.
Miss Ranmall and Mrs. Skelton are two teachers that were out due to sickness. While being out, they still try to make sure their students were actively learning.
So, of course, it made it difficult to hopefully make sure the students were having fun and are interested in what they're learning. So yeah, it just made me be more engaging on through either PowerPoints, announcements, things like that.
I mean, normally I could just, tell my students about it and walk them through it. And I had to make sure I found all the right things that they could access on their own and understand on their own. So I think part of it, the students have to kind of step up a little bit on their end and be more self-directed. And I know that can be challenging when they're used to me being there.
The teachers that are still at school have been filling in for sick teachers.
We've had to cover each other's classes, and I can't thank them enough because some of them are giving up, their conference time. That's the time they used to plan and to grade, and they've had to give that up just to cover our classes.
The subs that do come in to cover our classes have to get used to the different routines, like our advisory period at Heritage.
A lot of moving parts to a high school. Advisory period, all the different things. So just making sure you've got subs comfortable with students and the schedule that they've got to follow.
Our office staff has been working hard on making sure the whole school runs smoothly with all of our precautions.
So our secretaries, our office staff, Ms. Vest, who's in charge of substitutes, they work so hard to make sure there's enough coverage. And I mean, they'll even email out the whole staff the day before and say, hey guys, stuff for tomorrow is not looking so great. Do we have any volunteers? Does anybody want to step up now? And they're very proactive about it.
100%. I feel all the teachers, we always talk about how bad we feel for the people down there who are having to organize this chaos. I can't even imagine being a part of that. I think they're doing the very best they can.
As a whole, our teachers have been working together to make up for the lack of staff.
we've got great teachers and they step up and help out.
And again, Heritage is honestly just such a like supportive community. Both like teachers supporting teachers, office supporting everyone, admin being compassionate and supporting us. Like we are, even though it's crazy, and I know like everyone might be feeling different types of ways, at the end of the day, I think this is a great place to be through the craziness.
I'm Preston Raven with Coyote Nation TV.
With every new school year, our campus is introduced to new teachers and administrators. On this week's edition of New Faces, New Spaces, we meet our current yearbook and photojournalism teacher, Mr. Kazanitz.
So I'm Mr. Kazanitz. I am a first-year journalism teacher. I teach journalism, photojournalism. I advise the yearbook and the news magazine. This is my first year as a teacher. It's been great. It's been really interesting to learn all the different perspectives of all the different students. Shortly after I graduated from the University of Maryland, I got a job with a newspaper in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, where I covered the Philadelphia Eagles football team for a couple years as a beat reporter. Essentially, I followed the team around, went to games and practices. My goal as a first-time teacher mostly is just to make every student feel supported and feel like they can accomplish a lot. Just like everyone else, I'm still learning and finding my footing. But I think because I have those experiences, one of the important things about teaching is connecting it to the real world for students, and I do think I have a little bit of a leg up there. But since I moved here a little bit, I've been exploring the barbecue scene and taco scene, so I really like to go out to restaurants. I'm really excited about Heritage. I'm really excited about the students that I have and that I've met and that I've seen in the hallways, and I think that this is going to be a great school year for everyone.
And on the topic of yearbook, the purchase deadline for them is today. Visit jostens.com to purchase your yearbook, or if you have any questions, go see Mr. Kazanitz in room A124. Well, that's all we have for you today, Coyotes. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Heritage Student Media and on Twitter at Coyote Nation TV. As always, I'm Caitlin Mims, and you stay classy, Coyotes.